Hello, happy Tuesday afternoon. Welcome back. We are back in clinic after a week of vacation time, taking some time with the family, getting rejuvenated, ready to get back in here and help take care of everyone that comes through my doors. And I would encourage you as well to take time off, take time to step back from your normal day-to-day activities. It doesn't have to be a week at the beach like I like to take. It can be a night away. It can be a couple hours away. Sometimes it's just taking a few minutes away and stepping back and kind of rejuvenating yourself. We all need that to lower our stress, lower our cortisol levels, help with life satisfaction, help with weight loss, help with a whole bunch of things. So I took mine. You make sure you take yours. We all need it. Today, I want to take a minute and continue the conversation around GLP-1s. So GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide, or as everyone calls them, the weight loss shots. These are things like Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, Zepbound, Saxenda was the first one that came out. These medications help you to feel full and satisfied faster. They help you to eat less because you're feeling full for so long. They slow the motility of things through the intestines. And we've done previous videos on the risk and benefits and the things that you should know before making the decision to go on these drugs. Well, today's conversation wants to talk about the practicality of staying on these medications. And as most of you who've come through my doors looking for help with weight loss know that when I talk about these drugs, I encourage people to think of them as lifelong medications because they're extremely difficult to get off of. And when I say extremely difficult, what I mean is the majority of people who go on these medications lose weight and then stop the medications within the first 12 months, gain back 70% of the weight that they lost. Generally, most of the weight they lost is regained. It's just very difficult to maintain the loss coming off of them because of the amount of hunger that hits you, and you all of a sudden feel like all willpower has gone out the door. You're just excessively hungry, especially if you do not work on changing your lifestyle and just allow the medications to help you reduce the amount of the bad things that you're eating. When you come off of them and they exit your system, you're going to be really eating a lot of those bad things because you were reliant on the medicine to do the work instead of you doing the work. And so I frame the conversation around you need to expect to be on them lifelong. And a lot of people are not ready to go on lifelong medications, which I totally understand. I can understand that sentiment. I have had a couple of people come off, maybe 2, 3 successfully, and those people do not touch processed food ever again. They stay on the medication for a short amount of time, and they don't typically go up to the highest doses of the medications. But even those individuals have some weight regain. They would just not have a full amount of weight regain. So today, I want to look at a paper that was published in Dove Press, and it was published, I believe, yes, in 2020. So it was put out about 4 years ago, and it's looking at real world data. What does that mean? It means that they took data or points to study from people who are living out every day. So people like you and me. It is not people within a enrolled study for the drug companies or any other enrolled study that they're studying for a purpose. In fact, these individuals, the information was taken from an insurance company and claims that were made to that insurance company. And this was looking at type 2 diabetics, not for obesity, but it's looking at type 2 diabetics within this one payer or this one insurance group. And these individuals had to have a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes, had to have filled a GLP-1 product, not just one time, but at least 2 times. And I think that's kind of important because they're not even taking into account the people that tried it the first time and couldn't remain on it due to the side effects. So if you tried it that first month and couldn't stay on it, they didn't count that. So, but if you filled 2 or more prescriptions, then they looked at this data, and they had a total of 4,791 patients with type 1 diabetes, not type 1, type 2 diabetes, that had over 1 prescription filled, and 3,907 persons with type 2 diabetes that filled more than the 2 prescriptions there. And so what they did is they followed these individuals and they saw how long did they continue to fill them. How many times did the pharmacy say that they were being filled? And this is in the US. This is not in the Europe or anywhere other country. This is here in the US. How many continue to have these filled? And if there was a break of over 90 days in getting a prescription filled, it was considered to be discontinued. What they found is that there was quite a large discontinuation rate. In fact, it was actually found that women discontinued more than men. And after about 6 months or so, after about 6 months or so, only 48% of women were considered compliant or getting that medication filled on a regular basis. Men was a little bit higher, around 54%. When they looked a few more months into that, that was 12 months into it, only 48% of women were compliant, 54% of men were compliant. When they looked after 2 years, only 44% of women were compliant and 51% of males were compliant. They also found the younger you were getting these prescriptions, you were less compliant. And so you have to stop and ask why. Why were over 50% of people not compliant with a drug that is supposed to be life altering, that can help put your numbers into almost non-diabetic ranges, help you lower your heart risk, and also help you lose weight? Why would less than 50% of people be compliant? You might think, first of all, it could be an insurance issue, not being paid. But remember, this data was taken from an insurance company and the people were on it and continued on it. So insurance coverage was not an issue. These people had coverage for the medication. Well, this paper doesn't really tell us why they discontinued it. We just know that over 50% of people did discontinue it. Now, my suspicion is that it is probably due to side effects of the medication. Now, this data was taken from like 2009 to 2017, 2010, 2017. So we have to think about the products that were on the market at that time for type 2 diabetics. It was pretty much Victoza, which the weight loss version is Saxenda, and then Ozempic entered the world around that time. So when we're looking at the data, they did say that people who were on the daily injectable discontinued it more than people who are on the weekly. So weekly had a little bit better adherence. Now, coming from the clinical side of things, I can tell you from watching people, I had way more people discontinue the daily than the weekly. And as the weeklies are getting more and more advanced, we have less and less people discontinuing them, and for reasons other than insurance coverage. I think that's because it's side effects. So the original drugs had a lot of nausea, vomiting, constipation. As it got better into Ozempic, you still had a lot of nausea, vomiting, constipation, but not quite as much as those. And then as we're moving into the Mounjaro world, you're getting a little less. Still very much there. But even if you account for that, better adherence, we're just not seeing good compliance, which to me tells us that we're putting our faith in a medication that is not going to fix the problem. So my message to you is, yes, these do have to be lifelong to work the majority of the time. I would say 95+% of the time, in my professional opinion. They don't fix the problem, though. You still have to fix your lifestyle. And even if you do try these medications, be prepared for some significant side effects and some significant weight regain. And hopefully you would be in that 48-ish% that handled them quite well and could stay on them. I don't know, that 50-50 chance. This does not seem to me like this is going to be our holy grail of things to fix our obesity epidemic here in the US. Who knows? I don't have a crystal ball. I would have never thought that we'd be here in practice when I started practicing 19 years ago. We'll see. We'll see what the next best and greatest. But until then, consider, is this something you want to be on for forever? And if it's not something you want to be on for forever, then let's table it, not think about it. If you are kind of sensitive to medications to start with, you're probably going to be sensitive to it. You probably don't want to start it because it's going to be in heartbreak. You're going to lose a bunch of weight and then regain a lot of weight. And if you're really not committed to changing your lifestyle, I don't know, maybe you're going to get some benefit from being on it, but I don't think it's going to give us the long-term success that we really want. And what short-term side effects is it going to give us? The big question. I'll link the study. You can look at it if you want to. check into it. Let me know what you think. There is Low Carb for Better Health coming up. It's in roughly 2 months. So it's August 23rd and 24th at Montgomery Bell State Park here in Dixon, Tennessee. We've got a great speaker lineup. And I did just hear from one of the speakers that they are going to be talking about GLP-1 therapy, its proper use as a tool and what that looks like. I think it'd be a great opportunity for anybody to learn more information about GLP-1s, how that could go into a low carbohydrate approach as well and be partnered in what's the appropriate use and what should we really know about them. So you would hear from a top expert in the field coming to Low Carb for Better Health. There are some tickets left, only about 20 tickets for VIP night and about 40-ish for the actual conference. So if you want in, go get your tickets now. You can find out more information at www.lc4bh.com. I hope to see you there. Until next week, guys, take care.